Hey everyone, this is Kat with Wondering Soup, and I'm coming to you real quickly with a video regarding the guidance that was issued out yesterday that goes into effect on January 26th regarding air travel into the U.S. and COVID-19 testing. I'm going to read to you verbatim what the CDC is saying, and then we'll get into how this affects you. So on January 12th, the CDC issued an order requiring all air passengers arriving into the U.S. from a foreign country to get tested no more than 3 days before their flight departs and to provide proof of the negative result or documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to the airline before boarding the flight. Again, this goes into effect on January 26th of this month, and this order applies to all air passengers ages 2 and above. And I said all air passengers, not just U.S. citizens. That anybody who's coming into the U.S. has to have this test if you are 2 and above, unless you've tested positive for COVID in the last 90 days and you still have proof of that and your recovery. That's it. That's the only exception to the rule, is that you had COVID within the last 90 days and you have proof of that. Other than that, everybody 2 and above, you will get this test to get into the US. And the test that you have to do is the viral test, right? So make sure if you're planning on traveling and you'll be coming back into the US after January 26th, that the country that you're going to offers the viral test. Otherwise, you're not getting on that plane to come back into the US. And you got to receive those results before you get on the plane, 3 days prior to your departure. Right. Now, I mentioned if you had COVID, you're good to go to a certain extent. If you've had it within the last 90 days and you have proof of that, you can show that, and you're good to go to get on the plane and get back into the U.S. I'm assuming that they're going with the assumption that you had it once, you maybe can get it again, but you are building up some antibodies and you should be okay. Now, I did mention proof of the test results, the negative test results. That has to be supplied to the airline. So if you have a flight coming up and you're arriving back into the U.S. after the 26th, you need to discuss with your airline how they want to receive that information. Do you have to upload it? Do you have to show it at the airport when you arrive? Whatever you have to do, and you need to do it. They may have a specific format they want it in. I don't know. I don't know what that's gonna be. Each airline may be slightly different. Again, this guidance just came out yesterday, and I know the airlines hasn't heard about it before, and they probably are scrambling right now to get everything set up to receive this information, because it has to be documented. It can't just be, I don't think they're gonna probably just show it at check-in. I'm almost positive you're going to have to upload it, because it just makes sense, because then they can show it to anybody else who's reviewing the flight manifest for every passenger that's coming into the US. Remember, every passenger, not just US citizens. And it has to be a negative test. Otherwise, you're not getting into the US. So if you test positive, you're in Mexico, and you test positive, what happens? It's going to cost you. Not only is it going to cost you that test that you have to do in whatever country that you're in, it's also going to cost you whatever guidelines they have set up for people who are testing positive who are not citizens. It may mean that you have to go to a certain hotel, stay in that room, and incur the cost of that hotel. For however long they say you have to remain in their country to show that you are no longer COVID positive, I guess would be my thinking. That could be 7 days, it could be 14 days. It could even be 21 days before they allow you to travel. You need to look at every country that you're going to ensure that you understand what their protocol is going to be if you were to test positive. So there's a couple things. You got to contact the airline and see how they want the test results received. You got to find a company some testing lab in the area that you're going to be in that's going to be able to provide you that test. Have the money to take the test, and have the money to take care of yourself if you come up positive. That may be hospital costs. If that's the case, guess who's got to cover that? You do. Some people have insurance. All insurance does not cover COVID. We found that out last year. Check with your insurance before you get on the plane to make sure they're going to cover you. Also, make sure that insurance covers before the fact and not after the fact. And by that I mean a lot of travel insurance, you pay for everything that happens, and then you send them a receipt and they reimburse you. That's a hardship for a lot of people. And we may be talking thousands of dollars if you are admitted to a hospital in any country. So consider those things. Now, let's say you're coming in from Southeast Asia and you're going into Atlanta, Georgia. And there's a connecting flight in Canada. There's a connecting flight in Japan. The test has to be valid 3 days prior for the flight that comes into America from that first flight. Even if it's connecting flights, it still has to be valid for 3 days prior because America is your final destination. Now, let's say you are going from Vietnam to Tokyo, you're staying there for 6 days. Then it has to be valid 3 days prior to you leaving Tokyo. Now, let's say that you're doing that same journey and you're coming from Southeast Asia, you went to France, and now you're in Canada, and you got an overnighter there, then you're coming into Atlanta. Guess what? There's a snowstorm in Canada, all flights are grounded, and it lasts for 2 days. Guess what? You're out of that 3-day window. You're gonna have to get tested again before you can get on the plane to get into America. And you're probably gonna come to some hassle with Canada because I know they've been stopping everybody. You can only do less than 24-hour layover. So there's gonna be some issues there. Check your connecting flights. See where you're landing. See what the possibilities are in the winter, because it is January 26th when this goes into effect. The possibilities that may occur weather-wise. In regards to delays, there's so many things here, people. You gotta look at everything. So you're landed in the US, you tested negative, you're good to go. What do you do next? So you landed in the US, you tested negative, you're at home. CDC states you should self-isolate for 7 days. And then you're good to go. Generally, the belief is that within 3 days of coming into contact, you'll show signs of COVID. So within that 3-day period, you should be okay. 7 days, you'll definitely be out of the window. Some follow your state guidelines, though. They may require more than that. They may require 14 days. So again, there's so many things that you have to do if you're planning on travel and arriving back in the U.S. after January 26th. I would almost recommend that you do a checklist of sorts to make sure that you're checking off everything so you're not surprised and you're not stuck somewhere. And when I stuck, I mean being stuck in America or being stuck outside of America. Because there's so many things going on, so many variables here, I recommend that you do a checklist on things that you need to do before you get on that flight. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the guidelines. You have to get tested 3 days before your departure. Ages 2 and above, everyone coming into the U.S. via air. So the things I recommend you do are, if you're, whatever country you're gonna be in, if you're going there or you're already there, you need to find a testing facility, ensure that they can give you the results within 3 days of your departure, and that is a viral test. Find out with your airline what you need to do to give them those results, be it uploading something, scanning something, bringing it to the airline. To the airport. Get an electronic copy as well as a paper copy. This is for every member in your traveling party over the age of 2. Check the guidelines of the country that you are in or visiting to see what happens if you test positive. What will be the next steps? What costs you may incur if you have to stay in that country. Lodging, medical care, any of those things. Also check with the airline how the flight itself will be handled if you do test positive. Are they going to automatically schedule you in 7 days, 14 days, 21 days? What expense that may be, again, covered by you. Check with your insurance company to see if they recover any part of this. If they do cover any part of this, ask them or verify if you will have to pay first and then be reimbursed, or will they pay at the time of possible hospitalization, or even for the lodging that may be involved, the self-isolation, meds, care, any of those things. Check, check, check. Make a checklist, check it twice for you and anybody that you are traveling with if you're planning on arriving or coming into the U.S. after January 26th. Keep abreast of this. This may change, it may not, I don't know. This was, I think, sort of surprising that it came out. Maybe because I think everybody expected this to happen months ago and it didn't. But here we are. Do what you gotta do. If you gotta travel, follow these steps. If you don't have to travel, I recommend you don't travel. It's just that simple. That is what I think you should do. I think you should follow some people on YouTube, see where they're at, look at some old videos of travel, and plan a trip for later. But January 26th is gonna be an eye-opener. I wish everyone the best. I am Kat, this is Wandering Soup, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace and love, y'all.